You mean bet?
Yeah. 5 says she put you away.
5? How about 10?
Okay, seems a little steep, but 10,000 it is.
Some of the biggest rises in child stardom already had the biggest falls.
Harry, I've reached the top!
But why? Are family pressures and public scrutiny just too much for these kid stars to take? When you look at the lives of some of the most promising child stars, it seems like they had the world at their fingertips. But between drugs and alcohol, mental issues, and just simply burning out, it's no wonder these child stars couldn't stay in it to win it. So let's take a look at some of the most famous kids who have ruined their careers. Aaron Carter. There are few boy pop stars who have fallen so far from grace quicker than Aaron Carter. Height of his career, his albums were going gold internationally and he was touring the world. Growing up, it seemed that Aaron was constantly in the shadow of his older brother Nick. Nick Carter being a member of the boy band Backstreet Boys and was also incredibly successful. Aaron started just performing music when he was 7 years old. He got his first big break opening for Backstreet Boys just a few years later in Germany. From that break, Aaron scored a record deal and released his first album. By the time he released his second album, he began dabbling in acting. His career was taking off and the sky seemed to be the limit. It all started crashing down, however, beginning in 2008 when Aaron was arrested for drug possession after getting pulled over for speeding in Texas. Aaron disappeared from the spotlight and was able to keep a low profile until another arrest in 2017 for driving under the influence. In 2019, Aaron was granted a restraining order against his Russian girlfriend Lena Valentine, who had allegedly threatened to stab Aaron. While he was in the midst of this legal trouble, Aaron also faced financial trouble, filing for bankruptcy in 2013, claiming to be $3.5 million in debt. In 2017, Aaron came out as bisexual after having very public relationships with many female celebrities, including Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff. Aaron seems to have hit rock bottom in 2020 as he set up an OnlyFans account, an adult-only website where Aaron charges up to $100 for nude photos. Misha Barton. Misha Barton lived the life most girls dream about. Misha was born overseas but moved to New York City when she was 5 years old. She grew up in the upper class in New York's elite and attended the prestigious professional children's school. She began acting on the stage at age 8 to rave reviews, and it wasn't long before she was landing film roles. It was her role in the movie The Sixth Sense that made her recognizable.
I'm feeling much better now.
She eventually began acting on television, landing the role of Marissa Cooper on The OC. Since the show was canceled in 2007, Misha went on to work on independent films. In more recent years, she has found herself in trouble with the law. She was arrested in 2007 for driving under the influence. In 2009, well, things got worse for the star when she was hospitalized for mental issues, including suicidal actions. Most recently, Misha was hospitalized again in 2017 for behaving erratically in her backyard. She has not worked since these events. Lindsay Lohan. When you think a child star has gone wrong, Lindsay Lohan is usually the first name to come to mind. The biggest names in Hollywood all agreed that Lindsay had the talent to have a very lasting career, but it just wasn't meant to be. Lindsay began her career as a child model when she was just 3 years old. Her experience as a model catapulted her into commercials. By the time she was 10, she was cast on the soap opera Another World as a regular. Lindsay spent a year on Another World before getting the break of a lifetime. She was cast in the Disney movie The Parent Trap. She received rave reviews for her dual role as twin sisters separated at birth. And Lindsay went on to land a 3-film contract with Disney, as well as starring on television. As a teenager, Lindsay went on to star in Freaky Friday, which continues to be her most successful film to date. As her acting career soared, Lindsay also dipped her toe into the music world. She released an album in 2004, and it was a hit. It didn't hurt that some of her songs were used in, well, some of her hit movies. And Lindsay seemed to have hit her sweet spot. However, in 2006, trouble started brewing. Lindsay started to earn a reputation for a bad work ethic while on the sets of her films. She would often show up late and unprepared. Studios began pulling Lindsay out of productions because she was an insurance liability. Lindsay was also arrested for several DUIs, and nobody wanted to work with her until she could prove that she was sober. She has had a few attempts at comebacks over the past few years, including some low-budget films and some television appearances, but Lindsay's publicly bizarre behavior and her struggle with addiction seem to continue to hold her back. Amanda Bynes. There are few young actors who have the comedic timing and ability to be compared to the likes of Lucille Ball, but Amanda Bynes had that it factor. From a young age, Amanda was just naturally funny and able to make people laugh. When she was 7 years old, Amanda started working in commercials, but it wasn't long before she started performing on the stage. When she attended a comedy camp at the famous LA-based Laugh Factory, she was discovered by a producer at Nickelodeon and was immediately hired on the spot. She was the new Nickelodeon star and made her way to different shows on the network, eventually starring in her very own sketch comedy show called The Amanda Show. She began doing movies and also starred in the network comedy What I Like About You alongside Jenny Garth. The good times, well, they didn't last. In 2010, Amanda announced that she would no longer be acting. Fans began to speculate that something was very wrong. Boy, were they right. Amanda was charged with a DUI in 2012, and in 2013 she was charged with drug possession. The bizarre behavior that followed shined a light on her mental health issues. She was caught starting a fire in a stranger's driveway and was put on a 72-hour mental evaluation hold. After a string of strange and unusual tweets, Amanda's parents were granted conservatorship over Amanda. Amanda was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and remains under her parents' conservatorship. But in 2020, she did announce her engagement to boyfriend Paul Michael. The couple is also allegedly expecting their first child together. Congrats! Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin is one of those kids who just had it. He began acting when he was just 4 years old and worked on stage, television, and in movies throughout all of his early childhood. His huge break came when he was 10 years old and he landed the part of Kevin McAllister in the movie Home Alone. From there, he went on to star in many more films before announcing a break from acting in 1994 at just 14 years old. The rumors then started flying about Macaulay's family and what exactly went on behind the scenes. Macaulay's dad also acted as his manager and had a notorious hot temper, which made him, well, difficult to work with. Right before Macaulay announced his acting hiatus, his parents had filed for divorce and began what would become one of the most bitter child custody battles in history. According to many sources, whatever millions Macaulay had made over the years had gotten diminished to nothing in just legal fees. Years later, Macaulay would be arrested for possession of marijuana and pills. He appeared in tabloid magazines looking hollow-eyed and gaunt, a big departure from the rosy-cheeked kid that we knew and loved. Probably the biggest defining relationship in Macaulay's life was his friendship with Michael Jackson, which began when Macaulay was just 11 years old. Macaulay claims that in all the years he spent at Jackson's house, he was never molested. He is even godfather to Jackson's 3 children. Macaulay is now doing well though, and is engaged to Brenda Song. Keep it up, Macaulay. Britney Spears. When Britney Spears started attending dance classes in Kentwood, Louisiana at age 3, nobody could have imagined where her life would take her. She was constantly being chosen to sing and dance at different events in her town. She was rejected from joining the Mickey Mouse Club at 8 years old for being too young, but was noticed by a talent agent who took her under her wing. Britney and her mom moved to New York City so Britney could attend the Professional Performing Arts School. Soon after, Britney appeared on the popular TV show Star Search and went on to star in a variety of commercials before finally landing herself a spot on the Mickey Mouse Club, among other young stars like Ryan Gosling, Justin Timberlake, and Christina Aguilera. She moved to Mississippi when the show was canceled, but quickly got bored and wanted to get back to performing. And boy did she perform! After releasing her debut album, Baby One More Time, she began touring the world and became an instant sensation. The first sign that Britney was going to do things on her terms was when she shocked the world by getting married in Las Vegas to a friend of hers. The marriage, well, it was annulled just 55 hours later, but the press that followed was anything but flattering. She next became engaged to Kevin Federline, and the pair were wed in 2004. After Britney gave birth to 2 sons, there were some questions about her mothering when she was caught on camera driving with her young son on her lap. Yeesh. In 2006, she and Kevin split, and by 2007, she had checked herself into rehab, but just for a few hours before leaving. The next night, paparazzi caught Britney at a hair salon with electric clippers in her hand, shaving her head. In the next few weeks, Britney checked into several other treatment facilities, just to leave them after a few days. In 2008, she hit rock bottom and police were called to her house after she had taken something that left her incoherent. Kevin was given emergency sole custody of their kids, and Britney's parents were awarded permanent conservatorship of Britney. Britney has tried to reclaim her pop princess title, but most fans can't forget the craziness that seemed to follow the icon wherever she went. Which famous kids fall from grace surprised you the most? Are you rooting for any of these stars to make a comeback? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one.